sure if this is a skinwalker or a spirit. I live in Southern California, and about a week ago, I was staying at my boyfriend's house. He lives with his mom and stepdad, but they were gone on vacation, and we were watching the three dogs. The first night, everything was fine. Dog slept good in the master bedroom, while we were down the hall in my boyfriend's bedroom. Second night, we crawled in bed around 9 to watch a movie, and the dogs were restless and kept barking and growling in the kitchen. I had to get up multiple times to tell them to stop and go to bed. It was about 10:30 p.m., and then I got a call from my sister, who had just driven out to the desert with her boyfriend, and she was panicking. She said while they were unpacking their stuff, they heard some kind of cackling, almost like laughter, but not totally human sounding, followed by a very deep, almost fake sounding howl. She said similar to hyena laughter, but deeper. There are no hyenas in San Diego County. Coyotes maybe, but that's pretty recognizable. She asked her boyfriend if he heard the howl, and he said yes. They estimated it was within 200 feet from them. Knowing it wasn't a coyote, they packed up their shit and got in the truck. Driving away, they were looking around with a flashlight and saw nothing. No other campsites, and no people nowhere near them. No coyotes also. I calmed her down on the phone, and they ended up moving to a different area, closer to the ranger station and other people. I immediately thought Skinwalker, because I have read posts about them before, but I didn't want to put that in her head at the moment. I ended up going back to sleep. About 2 hours later, I woke up to one of the dogs whining and scratching at our bedroom door. I start to get out of bed, and I hear what sounded like a car alarm, just like a horn going off. I looked out the window, and it wasn't our cars, so I opened the door to let the dog in, and the sound got louder. I realized it was coming from somewhere in the house. I woke up my boyfriend, and we both walked down the hallway and saw all the dogs standing outside the master bedroom. We walked inside and realized it was his mom's alarm clock going off at 12:33 a.m. We were trying to figure out how to turn it off, but none of the buttons were working. We pressed every single one until he finally unplugged it and shut it off. I told him how creepy it was that the alarm just went off out of nowhere. He thought maybe his mom accidentally set the alarm clock before she left and didn't realize it was AM instead of PM. I thought about it for a second, but then I realized that this is the type of alarm clock that you usually set the night before, and we had been there by ourselves for 2 nights already, and it hadn't gone off at all. If his mom had set it, it would have done it the previous night, not 2 days later. He kinda just brushed it off as it glitching, and we turned and went back to bed. We told the dogs to go to bed, but they were still standing outside the door. None of them wanted to come in and lay on our beds. We ended up going back to our room, and they all followed us and laid down on the floor. I had told my boyfriend how freaked out I was about the dogs being antsy, and then getting that call from my sister, and then the alarm clock going off, and the dogs following us back into his bedroom instead of going back to sleep on the floor in their beds in the master. He said yeah, it was weird, but it's fine, which didn't make me feel any better. The only thing that kept going through my mind was that there was something in this house. I can feel it. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, I called my sister and told her what had happened, and she said that she had the same feeling all night, that something was near us, and she could just feel it. She said that she didn't think it was a coincidence. Something was fucking with her, and because she told me about it, it came and fucked with me as well. I believe that too. I also believe that something was luring us out of the room with the alarm clock, and the dogs knew. That's why they followed us back into the room and stayed with us the rest of the night. I don't know if it was for sure Skinwalker, but we were both in an area that has multiple Native American reservations close by. Whatever it was trying to scare us, and it sure did work. I'm here after just having an interesting experience on the I-15 tonight in southern Utah. About 2 hours north of Las Vegas, I was driving southbound, going 80 miles per hour at around 3:40 a.m. Suddenly, this thing, or whatever it was, ran immediately in front of my vehicle on 2 legs. It moved so fast that I hardly had time to react and tap on the brakes. It almost looked like a naked man from the glimpse I got. But I've never seen a human run that fast in my life, let alone run 5 feet in front of a moving vehicle doing 80 miles per hour on the highway. I've had plenty of close encounters with deer and other wildlife, but this was definitely something else. I would chalk it up to tired eyes if my friend in the passenger seat hadn't seen it as well. They must have gotten a better look than I, being in the passenger seat, because they described it as being faceless. I'm honestly unsure of what happened. I'm not much of a superstitious person, nor am I religious, but this undeniably happened. I'm wondering if anyone else has had a similar experience. It was 1973. I was hitchhiking from New Braunfels to Corpus Christi on Texas 123. It was 2 or 3 in the morning, and there was a fog that had just settled. It was late, and the first 2 cars did not stop. They just kept driving, which I understood. It was late. But I was young and dumb, and proceeded to try to hitchhike. I came up to a bridge and began walking across it. As I did, I began to hear the same thing, psst, and I thought I was hearing things, and continued walking. A few minutes later, I heard it again. The bridge was long, but I knew I had heard something. I looked down the side of the bridge, and was barely able to make out the floor. But there was nothing there. I continued walking, and heard it again, and then again. I thought it was just somebody messing with me, perhaps a transient, seeking shelter under the bridge. Then I remembered thinking, how did they see me, and how did they hear me from the other side of the bridge? The sound was emanating from under the bridge. How were they following me from under the bridge? The noise began to get louder as I was nearing the end of the bridge, and then I heard indistinct voices. Not one, but multiple voices. I was dumb and naive. I thought I was brave and bad, so I did what any idiot would do. I began to descend to under the bridge. The voices began to move away, so I started walking deeper down. I thought I began to hear laughter, and then it dawned on me. They were luring me down there. I paused and slowly began to backtrack, and then I heard, psst, once again. It was coming towards me, closer still. A heaviness and urgency filled me as I turned to run. Psst, closer still. The fog got heavier as I began to sprint. It had to have only been a few yards away. My lungs were beginning to burn, and I could feel my side beginning to hurt. Light up ahead, an oncoming car, and salvation on the opposite side. To this day, I'm not sure what he saw. He saw me running and must have seen what was behind me. His face was in utter disbelief. He slowed down enough to get a better look and then sped away. I was defeated. My muscles began to protest, and then, psst, it was already at my back. Just then, a semi came out of nowhere. It was coming fast. I took my chances and started flailing my arms. He saw me and began to slow down. Whatever this thing was, the semi seemed to scare it off. I turned around, still moving forward, and saw nothing. There was a lot of lights on the semi, and the entire area seemed to be illuminated. He opened the door, and I jumped in. Before I closed the door, I heard someone from the side, in the brush. Psst, almost. It was guttural and angry. I looked to the driver and asked him, "Did you hear that?" He smiled and said, "It must have been coyotes." "You alright, son? Where are you headed?" he asked as he put the rig in gear and slowly lumbered back onto the pavement. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw something. Something angry and big. Something I won't describe. Something that should not be. I replied to the truck driver, "Corpus, sir. Thank you. You don't know what a blessing you are." I wanted to cry. I was scared. But I was alive. Thank God I was alive. This may sound fallacious and for attention, but I assure you that this is not the case. My family frequently camps in eastern Indiana. Our campsite is in native land, and across the street is a farm with multiple cultist owners. From satanic worshipping in the 1970s and psychopathic men in the 80s, this farm has had a lot of negative energy. I've always heard ghost stories and sightings around the campsite, but being a skeptic, I always dismissed them and just played along. Until tonight. A group of us were walking down the road, which was pitch black and miles long. We stopped and sat to listen and look for anything supernatural. Everything was okay and pretty much your normal wildlife, except the breaking of tree branches stuck out. Every 15 seconds, a branch would break, 30 feet from where the last branch broke. We thought nothing of it and brushed it off as an animal. We continued our little expedition about 300 feet down the road and decided to turn around. After walking, everything was casual, without any signs of anything. Then, as I was looking at the farm field, I saw a long, lanky creature come up from prone to standing, and in one fluid motion, it leaped about 10 feet. We all instantly ran. We found each other at the campsite and began to tell everyone the story. We all saw the same thing. We all knew it wasn't natural. Believe it or not, this happened to me last night. What did I just see? One night, while driving around a rural Illinois area, on some random back road, my friend and I were just talking about random teenage things, and just having a good time. We started a conversation about scary things we had seen, or just different stories we have heard from other people. I should say that we were both firm believers of skinwalkers and creatures like that. I started to feel uneasy as I started to drive into a part of the road that had trees on both sides, and it just creates a really uneasy vibe at night. I'm looking up ahead, and my headlights shine on something that had these huge eyes that I couldn't even think of an animal with eyes that large. Then I asked my friend, "Do deer have big eyes?" And they answered, "Not really." In that moment, I started to feel a pit in my stomach that I should just turn around. I got close to the creature. Then it started to crawl across in a way where I don't even want to call it crawling. I felt so scared thinking about all those stories I've heard about skinwalkers. This thing looks half human and something else. Its front legs or arms were so long that it made me think that it was just inhuman and unnatural. Its back leg moved in such a way that it made me want to throw up. The thing looked at me, and that's when I came into my senses and threw the car back into reverse and turned around and got out of that area as fast as I could. I have never in my life seen something that looked like something in scary stories to tell in the dark. My friend did not say a word the whole time that I was taking them home. I really just want to know if I saw a skinwalker or some other creature. Hey guys, Drybones here. Thanks for watching the video. I've missed you guys a lot, and I know it's been a while. It's been a long time, actually. I hope to be uploading a lot more, but we'll see about that. Please like and share the video if you enjoyed it. Oh yeah, and one last thing. Stay spooky, my friends.